It's the I need that money. That's mine. Right? Or any jealous person, why he got that? Who he think he is? Who she think she is? Right? It's istiqbal. I ain't got to do that. I don't got to treat that person with that respect or that, whatever it is. Abad. So if we understand the mother of those sins, we can understand the children. Right? And the cure for it is to submit. It's a snub. Yo, give it up. Accept that we are just slaves. We don't want to accept that. All we have to, Allah says, look at the sky. Look at the sky. How many stars you see out there? How many earths you think are in those different places? Just like, how insignificant. You think you so much. Think about all the people that came. Look at the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He passed away 1400 and something years ago, right? And we're still living. Most people don't even think about him. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And he was the greatest person that ever lived. So how about you? What about Ibrahim and Isa and all these other prophets who did much more than you could ever do and I could ever do? Yet we see ourselves so big. And we don't even live up to our own standard. Right? We struggle to do that. Right? So it's not that we look down upon ourselves, but we put ourselves realistic, put ourselves on a real thing. Write an essay, who am I? And then go through, try to depersonalize it, because then it's easier. Because if I think about any of my friends, anybody that I know, my friends' business, I can figure their whole life out and tell them what they should do for the rest of their life. Right? But if I think about myself, I'll sit there for an hour and not be able to come up with a thought. Because of the ego. My ego can't allow me to see myself as, broken or imperfect. Right? So then if I depersonalize it and write it down, what am I accomplished? What have I done? Let me write a chronological history of who I am. And then look at that objectively and say, well, you know what, I don't like that. That don't sound so grand. Okay? So now how do I want this story to end? And I think about my father sometimes. My father, he's 80 years old. From 1950 to 1987, he smoked. Okay? Smoked cigarettes all the time. It was more menthols, if anybody remembers those. Okay? And we used to crush him up. I left home at the end of 85. And I was coming back and forth in the military, and I noticed he wasn't smoking at one time. I said, hey, what up? No, man, you finally quit? Yeah, I quit. Now, since then, anybody who knows him from there never knew he ever smoked. You get my point? You would never know that he ever was a chain-smoking, guy if you see him from then to now. So I say people can make a change, and you never know about that. Well, Allah knows. Does that make sense? And alter your whole, your life and these things like that. Okay, so that's what I want to say to us with regards to looking at our life, our existence. One Shaikh said you have to plan your life in light of your what is it? Your reality, not reality, but your sorry? Mortality, that's what he said. He said to plan the rest of your life in light of your mortality, with the mindset that you realize that I am mortal. The benefit that Allah has given us in having bucket lists and desires that exceed our mortality is so we can enjoy the whole trip. Right? Just imagine if you knew what day you were going to die. No New Year would be good for you. Right? Every day be like, no, man, I'm getting closer. What you mean good day? Chump, don't you know I got 35 days left? Right? You'd be different, right? So Allah allows us not to know. That's a mercy from Allah. And He allows us to have desires that exceed our lifetime so that we can enjoy it and have, keep going and it hit us. That's the best way to die. If we gotta go, right? So we need to think about these things. All of this is part of our fiqh, our understanding of what and how we're supposed to be in this dunya. The Prophet advised us to every day think about death. Why? Because at one moment, we're going to have to give up our soul. And that's a real-time moment. where you have now to show and prove. Are you going to submit or are you going to refuse and resist? Now, it's one of those things that they call, I don't know how they call it, but it's like all of a sudden you say something, right? Like, let's say you're in the car and it starts to swerve and you say, oh, do you say subhanallah or do you say that other thing that kuffar say, holy cow? You get my point, or something like that. Whatever you're used to saying, you're going to say. You can't say, you can't think about, oh, I should say la ilaha illallah. No. You're going to say what your tongue is used to saying. You get my point? So by thinking about death, he's telling you to prepare for it. Right? Why? Because when you start thinking about it in real time, it's like training. We tell people in martial arts, train, do the kata over and over again, so that the internal and external come together. Right? You fight, you're not thinking about it. You're going. If you have to think about it, you're not going to do it in a real fight. Because that's too scary. Right? What's the next move? Oh my God. Pow, you get knocked out. So you're only going to do those things that you are accustomed to doing, that you've done at least 5,000 times, they say, and then it becomes second nature. So this is why we're told to say La ilaha illallah, Subhanallah, Allahu Akbar, every time after the salah, every time we get a moment. As advice that I'm telling you from as your teacher, in the morning time when I wake up till the Fajr, I never say any of those things. I only say astaghfirullah. In the morning times before Fajr, never do anything and say astaghfirullah. Why? Because Allah tells us in the Quran, وَيَسْتَغْفِرُونَ بِالْأَسْحَارِ, and they make istighfar in the suhoor time. Okay? So at that time is the time to do that. Then afterwards, all those other dhikr is what I recommend. This is my fiqh that I'm sharing with you guys. Somebody can say, well, no, you could do that too. Okay, you can do that too. But I'm telling you why I do what I do. And I have a proof there in the Quran. Okay? Does that make sense? So, alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen. This is, again, this whole class is about realigning our fiqh, our understanding, so that we can enjoy life. Now, I told you the secret, or not the secret, the subtlety of Islam is in the word Islam, surrendering. If you honestly struggle, and this is why it's called jihadun nafs, because you're constantly struggling with yourself to make yourself submit, right? To not resist. And the only way you're having this conversation, who are you having your conversation with? Anybody know? Sorry? The heart is articulating to what? And what do we call that brain? The ego. So remember I say, we seek refuge from our own egos. So the ego is in the mind here, and the heart is where the original intellect is. What's the first piece of flesh created in your body? The moment, no? The heart, right? And the whole body is created around it, formed around that heart, right? That heart has an intellect. Allah tells us from the very beginning of the Quran, focus on what? The hearts, right? Fi qulubihim, right? That's why they're munafiqun. Khatam Allahu ala qulubihim. Allah sealed their hearts, right? Lahum qulubun, right? La yafqahuna biha. They have hearts that they can't understand nothing with them. Right? Allah says that. Now, not that they can't understand anything. La yafqahuna, no fiqh in their hearts. You get my point? So, what is he talking about? The heart. If the heart is the thing that has the intellect that we're talking. So you strengthen the heart. And then Allah must just said it plain. There is a piece of flesh. If it is tayyib, wholesome, right? Then the whole body will be wholesome, right? And if it is corrupted, disease, then the whole body. Ala wa huwa al-qalb, right? The heart. I think they just heard the beat for the salah. Yes. Okay, let's offer salah, and then immediately after salah, please let's come back so we can do our lesson here, okay? Inshallah ta'ala. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك